Have you ever forgiven someone only to regret it later because they did the same thing again? Do you sometimes wonder if letting go means letting people walk all over you? If you've ever struggled with the balance between being kind and being wise, this message is for you. Today we're diving deep into what it truly means to forgive without being a fool. We'll explore how to free yourself emotionally without handing your power away. And yes, we'll make it practical, grounded, and unshakably stoic. If you're serious about self-mastery, emotional clarity, and living by your values instead of your wounds, subscribe now and join a tribe of warriors walking the path of growth. 1. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. Forgiveness does not mean the other person wins. It means you choose to stop carrying the emotional baggage of what they did. When we cling to resentment, we relive the injury over and over. It's like keeping a wound open on purpose, refusing to let it scab over because the pain has become part of our identity. But the truth is, pain doesn't have to be permanent. It can be acknowledged, processed, and released without requiring justice or apology from the person who caused it. Letting go isn't giving up, it's reclaiming power. You are no longer defined by what happened to you, but by how you choose to respond to it. Forgiveness in this sense is self-directed. It's a healing process that doesn't need anyone's permission. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control what others do, but we can absolutely control how long we let their actions live rent-free in our heads. Epictetus said it plainly, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you obsess over how someone wronged you, you're still tied to them, emotionally and mentally. Forgiveness severs that tie. It breaks the invisible chain that tethers your peace to someone else's cruelty. Some may feel that forgiveness minimizes the pain they went through, but it doesn't erase the experience. It simply means you refuse to relive it every day. You're choosing peace over poison. When you forgive, you're not saying what they did was okay. You're saying, I refuse to let this define my peace any longer. This distinction is crucial. Forgiveness doesn't equal approval. It doesn't condone betrayal, abuse, or injustice. It says, this happened, it hurt, and I still get to decide how I move forward. That's radical ownership of your life. This is not weakness. This is power, because you're choosing liberation over bitterness. Bitterness is like acid. It corrodes the container that holds it. You carry it thinking it gives you strength, but all it does is drain you. Forgiveness, then, is the opposite. It's an act of personal sovereignty. It says, I will not let this harden me. I will remain open to life, but wiser, stronger, and freer. 2. Trust is earned, forgiveness is given. Here's where people get it wrong. Forgiveness and trust are not twins. They're not even cousins. Forgiveness is internal. Trust is relational. One is your decision to release pain. The other is your decision to risk again. Confusing the two is why so many people get hurt all over again. They think because they forgave, they must now open the door again. But wisdom says, not so fast. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Trust is a reward someone earns through consistent action. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because you chose to release your anger. That choice was for your healing, not their convenience. Trust requires time, consistency, and evidence. Without those, forgiveness remains, but trust stays behind the gate. You can forgive someone and still never allow them into your life again. That's not cold-hearted, that's intelligent self-respect. Boundaries anchored in discernment protect your peace. When someone shows you who they are repeatedly, believe it. You can release your anger toward them and still protect yourself from their chaos. Think of it like this. A Stoic does not hold a grudge, but they also don't forget where the lion hides in the tall grass. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." That means you don't retaliate, but you also don't return to the same vulnerability without reason. Trust, once broken, must be rebuilt. And even then, it may never be the same. That's not cruelty. That's consequence. Trust is fragile by nature, like glass. It can be restored, but the cracks will still show. And in many cases, the right decision is to forgive and move on, not to rebuild something that was only ever held together by hope. To forgive without requiring trust is to honor your values without abandoning your safety. It's a mature, grounded response in a world that often confuses compassion with naivete. 3. Boundaries are not bitterness. Some people will call you bitter when you put up boundaries. Let them talk. That label says more about their entitlement than your intention. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries are often the loudest when you finally draw the line. But boundaries are not revenge. They are self-respect in action. They are how you say to the world, "I know what I'm worth, and I will no longer settle for less." Stoic living means honoring your inner peace, and that sometimes requires stepping back from people who disturb it. Peace isn't passive. It's earned through difficult choices. The Stoic life isn't just about suppressing emotion, it's about mastering it. And sometimes mastery means knowing when a relationship no longer aligns with your principles. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They let in the good and keep out the toxic. A wall says, "No one comes in." A boundary says, "Only those who respect my values and energy are welcome." That's not bitterness, that's curation. Just as we curate what we feed our bodies, we must curate what we allow into our emotional lives. Forgiveness with boundaries is not cruelty, it's clarity. You're not trying to punish anyone, you're just choosing not to repeat the same cycle. Cycles don't break on their own. They break when we do something differently. Forgiveness without boundaries often leads to repeated harm. Forgiveness with clear lines, however, leads to growth, both for you and, potentially, for the person who wronged you. Your boundaries are a reflection of your standards, not your scars. They're informed by what you've learned, not what you've lost. When you understand this, you stop apologizing for protecting your peace. The Stoic doesn't shut down or push people away out of fear. They do it out of alignment. And when you live in alignment, you may lose some connections, but you gain back yourself. And that is always a trade worth making. 4. Fool me once, no more. Life is too short to keep giving unlimited access to people who repeatedly show you they don't value it. Every relationship, friendship, partnership, or family tie operates within a delicate framework of mutual respect and accountability. When that balance is disrupted, when one party consistently undermines or disregards your worth, continuing to allow them unchecked access to your time, energy, and trust becomes an act of self-betrayal. Stoic philosophy does not advocate for coldness or cruelty, but it does advocate for boundaries rooted in self-awareness. You only have so many emotional resources in a day, in a year, in a lifetime. Why squander them on those who drain rather than replenish? A person who repeatedly breaks promises, disrespects your values, or manipulates your kindness is teaching you something crucial. Not about them, but about what you tolerate. Life may offer second chances, but it rarely offers an infinite number of them without cost. And that cost is usually your well-being, your self-esteem, and your peace. Forgiveness does not come with a backstage pass back into your life, and you are not obligated to be nice at the expense of your self-respect. Too often, the pressure to maintain civility becomes a disguise for enduring mistreatment. Society has conditioned many of us, especially those raised in environments that value compliance over clarity, to confuse politeness with goodness. But niceness without discernment is not a virtue, it's a liability. To forgive someone is a deeply human act. It's letting go of resentment, not inviting repeat offenses. Forgiveness frees you, it does not entitle them. Stoicism reframes forgiveness as something you do for your own internal harmony, not as a transaction that guarantees reconnection. Saying, "I forgive you," is not the same as saying, "Let's go back to how things were." You can walk away in love, in silence, in peace, and still never turn around. Being kind does not mean being a doormat. True kindness includes kindness toward yourself. Stoicism teaches discernment. You observe, you learn, you act accordingly. You don't need revenge, you just need distance and direction. The Stoic understands that wisdom lies not in reacting impulsively, but in choosing a response that aligns with higher principles. You don't stoop to the level of someone who mistreats you. You rise above by showing that their behavior does not dictate yours. Revenge is a trap, a fire that burns the hand that throws the flame. But distance is clarity. When you remove yourself from toxic patterns and redirect your energy toward purposeful action, you take back your power without ever needing to announce it. Stoicism isn't passive, it's deliberate. You don't just walk away, you walk towards something better. Whether that's peace, progress, or simply self-respect, you realign your life not in reaction to betrayal, but in service to your own evolving standards. Once someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time and respond with calm, calculated integrity. It's not bitterness, it's wisdom. People reveal their character through consistent patterns, not isolated incidents. The Stoic doesn't ignore red flags in the name of hope or idealism. Instead, they interpret these signs through the lens of reason and self-respect. Believing someone the first time they show you their true character means you stop justifying bad behavior or waiting for potential to materialize. It doesn't mean you condemn them, it means you calibrate your expectations. Your integrity does not require you to engage, fix, or rescue others. It requires you to act in alignment with truth. And sometimes that truth means stepping away, not out of anger, but out of a deep sense of clarity. This is not cruelty. This is self-preservation elevated to the level of philosophy.
5. Heal and move forward, but stay awake. Forgiveness is healing. It's choosing to let go of the poison so it doesn't destroy you from within. Anger, bitterness, and resentment are heavy loads to carry, and the Stoic understands that those emotions do more harm to the vessel that holds them than to the object of their ire. To forgive is not to excuse injustice, but to refuse to let it live rent-free in your mind. It's a radical act of self-liberation. You no longer allow someone else's actions to chain your emotional state to the past. That doesn't mean the pain vanishes instantly or that you forget what happened. It means you consciously choose peace over punishment. Forgiveness is a way of reclaiming power, not by pretending nothing happened, but by refusing to be defined by it. The Stoics' approach is not about erasing wounds, but learning to carry them without letting them carry you. But healing doesn't mean you forget the lesson. The Stoic learns not only to recover, but to remember. Memory, when guided by wisdom rather than trauma, becomes a compass that helps you avoid old traps. Healing is never about returning to the person you were before pain touched you. It's about becoming someone wiser because of it. Just as a scar reminds you of what you've survived, the lessons etched into your emotional memory are reminders of what to watch for. The Stoic doesn't dwell, but they don't deny either. They know that to forget without reflection is to invite repetition. It's not paranoia, it's prudence. You can move forward without dragging the weight of the past, but you don't discard the map it gave you. You read it, you learn from it, and you use it to build better boundaries, better decisions, and better relationships. You can love people from a distance. You can wish them well while never letting them close enough to wound you again. This is one of the most mature, liberating truths the Stoic embraces. Love doesn't always require proximity. In fact, sometimes the most compassionate act is to let go. Some people, by virtue of their own pain, choices, or limitations, are not safe to keep close, even if you care for them deeply. Distance does not negate love. It refines it. It's an act of care for yourself and a recognition of reality. You can release someone from your life and still carry no ill will. Wishing someone well does not mean allowing them access to your peace. The Stoic learns that separation is not failure, it's clarity. You can choose solitude over sabotage, calm over chaos, and still have a heart full of warmth toward those you had to walk away from. Emotional maturity means you forgive, you grow, and you evolve. But you don't hand your peace back to chaos. Growth doesn't just involve letting go of pain, it also involves letting go of people, places, and patterns that threaten your stability. To heal is to redefine what you allow into your inner life. The Stoic doesn't seek comfort in familiarity if that familiarity is harmful. They don't romanticize the past at the expense of the present. Emotional maturity recognizes that peace is not something you find, it's something you build, protect, and guard. And once you've built it, you become fiercely intentional about who and what you let near it. This isn't selfishness, it's stewardship. Your peace is sacred ground, earned through insight, effort, and endurance. And as you move forward, you do so not with closed fists or an armored heart, but with open eyes, a clear mind, and a resolve not to lose what it took so long to find.
So here's the truth. You can forgive without becoming a doormat. You can let go of resentment without letting people back in. Forgiveness is powerful, but so is wisdom. Together, they build emotional freedom. If this message hit home for you, take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to forgive, but it's also okay to protect your peace. Walk the path with courage, let go with strength, and live with clarity.